Oh, Mommy and Daddy, why can't you hear our cries? The day is almost over, and soon it will be night. Oh, we're so cold and hungry, and our feet are tired and sore. We promise not to stray again from our cabin door. These are lyrics to a song by country singer Allison Cross called Jacob's Dream. Jacob's Dream is about Joseph and George Cox, or the lost children of the Alleghenies as they would come to be known. I used to work in a restaurant where they played a lot of country music, and Jacob's Dream is one of the songs that would play frequently. The song has a haunting and beautiful melody that caught my attention, and I had to know what it was about. So I did some research, and I became fascinated with everything about the boys, and today I want to take that knowledge and tell you about the Cox children and the day they disappeared, the search for the children, and the mysterious dream that enabled their bodies to be found. The story of the Cox children starts on April 24th in the sleepy mountain town of Pavia, Pennsylvania. The Cox family consisted of Samuel and Susanna, and the two children, Joseph and George, ages 5 and 7. The family lived a normal life, and during the day, Susanna would do chores and Samuel would do things like hunt or chop wood. As usual, that morning, Samuel took his dog and went out into the woods to hunt. Even though it was spring, there was still snow on the ground, so he put on his jacket and boots to protect himself from the cold before he went. He went off to hunt, and they caught a squirrel. Then he came back home a different route than he had came. When he arrived home, he was greeted by a horrible sight. Susanna was hysterical and said that she couldn't find the children and that she had called out to them several times only to get nothing in response. Samuel immediately left to search for the children. He looked by himself at first and then enlisted some neighbors to help. The search became massive, and by the end of the night, nearly 200 people showed up to look for the children. They combed the whole west side of Bob's Creek because they thought that since the creek was swollen that there was no way the children could have gotten across to the east side. They lit flames on the high peaks in hopes that the children would see the light. The town started to become desperate in wanting to look for the children. So desperate, in fact, that they even began to question the parents to see if they had any knowledge about the children's disappearance. The Cox home was searched down to the floorboards, but nothing was found. As the party searched on, nearly a dozen miles away, a man laid in his bed and had a dream that would change the direction of the search entirely. Jacob Dibert awoke one night to a strange and eerie dream. He dreamed that he was walking along a path in a forest when he came across a dead deer, and then a single children's shoe. And then he came to a stream that had swollen, but a tree was fallen across it so that he could cross. He crossed to the other side of the stream, and beneath a birch tree, he saw the bodies of the children lying cold and still. He told his wife about the dream, but she dismissed it as thus. It wasn't until the dream had recurred for several nights that she told her husband to tell her brother Harrison Wysong of the dream. Wysong heard the dream and thought he recognized the location that Dibert had described. So, on the morning of May 8th, the two set out to go follow the path in Jacob's dream. They crossed to the east side of Bob's Creek and saw everything in real life just as it had been in the dream. The deer, the shoe, and the bodies of the poor boys lying underneath the tree. The boys were buried together in Mount Union Cemetery near their home, and 50 years later, in 1905, the town got together to take donations to erect a monument for the children, and that was completed in 1910. There is not much that we know for sure about the mysterious disappearance of the Cox children. What we do know is that Joseph and George Cox, ages 5 and 7, disappeared from their family home in Pavia, Pennsylvania on the morning of April 24th, 1856. We know that their parents, Samuel and Susanna, claim that they have nothing to do with the deaths of the children, and no evidence has ever been found to contradict that. We know that somehow a man a dozen miles away dreamed and knew the location of the children's bodies. So you have to decide for yourself. Are they just poor children who were lost in the woods? Did the parents want them to get lost? Or did the man who had a dream never have a dream at all?